If you're installing LED high bay lights in a factory or warehouse, one decision you'll probably run into is whether to use a PIR occupancy sensor or a microwave occupancy sensor. Hi, my name's Doug Mullet. I'm the owner of Forthright LED Lighting. I've been in the lighting business for over 10 years. There are two common occupancy sensor types that you can choose from for a high bay in a factory or warehouse. They actually just kind of twist into the high bay. Very simple. They look a little different. The one is a passive infrared, also called a PIR is the acronym. The other one is a microwave sensor. And I'll talk about this throughout and make this recommendation, but if you're not sure, get one of both and try them out in your facility in whatever area is that you're looking at and using for the application. People install these to basically save money on electricity and to turn the lights on when people are in the area they need to see. And then when they leave the area, they turn off and don't, the light doesn't use electricity. That's the whole point of using these sensors. And they don't cost much. Typically, there is a pretty quick return on your investment in these. There's a lot more to these sensors that I'll cover in other videos, but for right now, I'm just gonna talk about the difference between these two, between the PIR and the microwave. The basic difference is the PIR works with the technology that is more line of sight. And the microwave works in a field of motion. The two primarily differences, and I'll get into a little bit about what that difference is. A PIR detects changes in infrared energy going across its path. A microwave sensor works more like a radar, and it sends out a very low signal and it reflects off of objects, and if it notices something is different, then it is activated. That's basically how that one works. I had somebody with this microwave have a concern about it messing up their equipment. I've never heard of anybody having a problem with their equipment on these, and you can do some research online. I didn't find anything when I looked it up. Ceiling height consideration. So the PIR, they say, will work up to 30 or 40 feet, okay, from floor to fixture. But in my experience, once it's about 30 feet, it's a little slower. So I sent this out in a job and he put it in. I said, well, how close to the fixture are you before it detects it? He says, well, we almost have to be right under the fixture. And I'm like, that's not a good situation to be. You want to be able to see that area as you walk up to it. So I set him the microwave. He was very happy at 30 feet. He said it was extremely sensitive, but I think that that's a better use of the application, especially in manufacturing. So I typically recommend the PIR sensor at about 20 feet, maybe 25 feet or lower, just based on the pure height of it. Anything above 25 feet, I'm definitely going to go and recommend the microwave sensor. Racking interference in aisleways. If it's an aisle and it has racking and maybe the racking is, only, 15 feet, 20 feet, the PIR sensor seems like a great one to use. Maybe the light itself is only up at 20 feet, the racks go up 15 feet. It's gonna probably save you the most amount of energy because it's not going to detect somebody else in the other row. But using it above that 25 or 30 feet, I still think you want to go with the microwave, even if it's going to detect somebody in the other row. I think the trade-off of not hitting somebody coming down that row with the PIR is worth it. And at the end of the day, if you're going from HID or fluorescent to LED, you're already cutting your cost by probably like 70%, right, in the energy use. And I haven't been in too many factories that the lights can't be off again, 50% of the time with an occupancy sensor. So I don't, even though you might set something off in the next aisle over with the microwave, I don't think it's that big of a deal in the whole aspect of the thing to do that. Like I said, the trade-off for the PIR, you just might not pick them up as well at that 25 or 30 feet. Cross-triggering would be if you did zone occupancy sensors where you had one sensor that controlled 10, 15, 20 units or a bigger space, picking things up when you were in another area to the one area, that might be a concern. But when you're putting one of these on each individual units, and it's so easy to do now, you don't have to do all the extra wiring, you just twist these things in. I wouldn't worry too much about setting more off in an area. I think that still would be okay. You might play around with the sensitivity and bring that sensitivity down just to where you maybe trigger it a couple fixtures away. Typically in a factory or warehouse, I think of the PIR sensor first, less than 25 feet, even 20 feet. PIR is usually my go-to sensor that I use. Anywhere above 25 feet, I'm looking at the microwave. But I do know that some people only carry the microwave, and I don't see how you really could go wrong if you just picked the microwave, even at 20 feet or whatever. You just set the sensitivity, and at the end of the day, you're still saving a significant amount of money by going to LED, and the additional 50% in energy, you're still probably going to get that. Okay, I said it earlier in the video and I'll say it again. If you're unsure or you just want to kind of play around with these things, ask whoever you're talking to. If you're talking to me, I'm going to give you half off of these to test them. If I know you're really serious about a project, I probably may even send you one for free. Play around with it with the high bay and test the different settings, put it somewhere. Because remember too, when you're going to put in LED, if you're doing it correctly, you're looking at something that's going to last you 10 years. So you're not going to do it again for a while. So you want to get it right. If you're interested in learning more about these occupancy sensors, I'm going to do a whole series on that. So check back to my homepage and look for those. This might be my first one that I publish, and we're going to talk about how to program them. And also, I'll talk about the energy savings that you can get from these. I'll actually do some equations and some math so you can see that. If you're interested in working with me and my company, Forthright LED Lighting, we serve the entire continental USA. We give free recommendations, free designs, free evaluations, savings evaluations. We'll help you organize and find rebates. Our products are of high quality at a fair price, and they ship fast. You can find us by Googling Forthright LED. My contact info is also on the YouTube channel, and you can find me and link up with me on LinkedIn at Doug Mullet, and just put in the light bulb emoji. You'll probably find me there.